It's so lame. Can't believe it. Hey, Tyler, what happened to Hudson? Right now,
I have no clue.
just disappeared.
Yeah, I didn't even see him leave.
He didn't check in with you when he left?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, Daniel Delgado made it. I was gonna, Daniel, you did not make it last week, right? Or no, Saturday. So you were working?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put down W.
Hey, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Is the other room still unlocked?
It's not. You need something? Oh, Flavio.
Flavio.
Yeah.
You need a mask, Flavio?
Yeah.
I think there's one.
We already covered all that.
Yeah, I took it last semester, but I just missed the second half.
Yeah,
I would
just-
go over the-
There should be some right inside. If not, I'll grab you when I know I got some. Another spot.
Yeah.
Okay, Flavio. Matthias, did you make it? Matthias? Love you. Yeah, so what do you guys think? What do you think about all that?
I think I might be putting your name down if it's okay with you.
As a reference?
Yeah.
Any one of you can put my name down as a reference and I will give an honest opinion of all of you, which by the way, I'm telling you straight out, it'll be good. There's only one person that it wouldn't be good and they're not here tonight, so. Everything else would be good. Yeah. Shouldn't say that, but
Hey, you're not recording, right? So-
I am.
Never mind.
But at any rate, yeah, that's just, and they know why.
It's like-
They know why I wouldn't recommend them. How can I recommend somebody that I can't count on?
Yeah.
Right? I can't recommend somebody I can't count on. It's impossible. So I think you can this one. I'm glad you made it. Because you are one of the guys I can count on. And really, every face I see in here, you are the guys I count on. I count on you. You make it. You're committed. You're all committed. You made a commitment and you have kept it. Don't think I'm not impressed and don't think I'm not grateful that you kept doing that because it doesn't seem to be the norm today. Used to be you could expect people to do what they said they were going to do, but I don't know when when it got different. It got different. So okay. So do you have any comments about that, about D.D. Ford or about Blair or Ryan? So let me just tell you, Doug Ford is about my age. I don't think he's any older. He might be a little bit younger than me, but started out just like me as cabinet maker. Only his wife, I think, was wealthy and lived in Montecito. So I think that helped a lot because I think that it's really, as you probably heard this before, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's not necessarily always true, but it helps. Who you know helps a lot in any industry. And around here, it's a fairly small town. So if you get the reputation of being someone that can do what you say you can do, you will get passed around. And just like Doug, he built a couple of places in Montecito and got in with the right people. And man, that place on the beach, Fernald Point, with the bridge and the suspending there.
The logistics of that seems
Love
insane.
jobs. What's that?
The logistics of that seem insane.
Oh, the logistics are insane. But if you're working at that level, you have a company that you're doing this cost plus. Your bookkeeping is open. It's a very transparent thing. You're just being professional about what you do. And you're finding the people to do it, and you're getting paid. They're getting paid, and you're getting a percentage of what they get paid for managing the job. It works out for everybody. And the owners are getting what they want, and the company DD4 is getting what they want. They're getting the work. They're putting people to work. They're creating and cementing long-lasting relationships, and they're all making dang good money. These guys are making good money, man. I mean, I was very small potatoes in my industry, and yet I did a whole lot of jobs, and I made enough to live the kind of lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. To tell you the truth, I have no complaints. I mean, when I think about it, I always get a little bit jealous about guys like House who's did a lot better than me, but guys like D.D. Ford, I could have done that. I'm convinced I'm as good a contractor as John. I'm definitely as good as Doug or any of these guys. I just didn't do that. I didn't go the way they went. So I'm not really jealous, except I love the way I did things, but I'm also able to see the way they do things because I've done the exact same thing. I've created a construction business and I see the way they do their business. And man, those guys have taken it to another level. They're really have really professionalized it, and it's paid off for them. They do really cool projects and they're sought after, and I think they do well. They do really well. So glad they came, and I've been telling them about all of you, about this class in particular, that I got some standout people in this class and that they might want to come and just check you out. You get to check them out. They're hiring. So you know, they're hiring. You saw their chart there. They're hiring on all levels. And if they see something in you that dovetails with their core values, something that, that ineffable quality in people that speaks integrity, and some people can see it in other people, then you could get a job there and be an intern and be trained to do stuff. It just depends on what you want to do too. What you want to do. And then you got to be honest with yourself, right? I mean, are you the craftsman type? Do you like working with your hands? Are you good at working with your hands? Do you have a light touch? Because some of us have to be like surgeons with chisels and hardware and stuff like that. Is that your thing? And that's what you should be doing if that's your thing. You should know if it's your thing or not your thing. Is your thing dealing with people? Is your thing dealing with numbers? Is your thing dealing with plans? Or do you do it all? That's a tough question. Some of you don't have experience to know what you do good at. But maybe let the indication be, what do you like to do? What do you think you like to do? Opportunity, man. This is the land of opportunity, and this is the time to be interested in the construction trades. It's never been a better time. Ever been a better time. So let's get out of that. Eliminations of hazards. Eliminations of hazards. Let's go back to the module. Mod. Is my dog in here?
Yeah, he's over there.
What was I going to say? So my wife's in Geneva. So actually, it's 4:30. It's 4:30 in the morning in Geneva. She'll leave this morning and fly to Frankfurt, and then to Houston, and then to Wichita, Kansas. God dang, it's going to be good to see her. What else did I do today? To her, something I wanted to tell you. I can't.
You try that caramel apple?
Did you try one?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Tastes a little like caramel, I guess.
Yeah, anybody want an apple?
Yeah, you should try them.
They're. I've never had an apple like this. Yeah, it's supposed to taste like caramel. So, here we are, week 10. Oh my gosh, so check this out. Ready? I should have shown this. And they said this is 10 years old. This is 10 years old. I like the way it flips. And you can see Ryan's 10 years younger, and Blair too. So 10 years ago, so home maintenance, interesting. Remodels, maintenance, but the idea of having a construction company that builds custom homes and does large remodels and stuff for people. And then when you're done, you have a whole division to maintain and take care of those homes, because homes always need maintenance. I mean, from the obvious things, the landscaping maintenance kind of stuff, to fixing windows and doors and locks and stuff that happens in your kitchen, and repainting. Oh my gosh, everybody repaints and adding on, and it's just, they got 90 projects a month. 90 projects a month in all kinds. So really, if you, somebody like Alex that does handyman stuff, you got in with them and you find that you can do it all. Like you said, you can fix the electrical, you can patch, you can put the insulation, you can patch the drywall, you can mud the drywall, you can do an invisible patch, you can tape it, you can prime it, you can paint it, you can do all this stuff, and you find yourself, you become their main guy. That's the guy. Oh, the guy they're talking about, that guy that's been nothing for 25 years, right? They can do anything, and they want that guy on the site. That guy. I don't want to work. I've done my share, I'm telling you. I've worked hard. I can't stop. I can't seem to stop working. Look at that. You can schedule service here. It's incredible. Yeah, I think that is pretty dang cool. Who are their affiliates? Okay. Dan. So they had this kid. I'm so sorry I didn't record that. Damn it. So stupid of me. Too many things. They had this kid. Can't think of his name. He was a nice kid, but he was a little full of himself and slightly arrogant. And some of my guys did not like him. So he was on a site at a house that Doug Ford built, right? He was the super. And we'd done the cabinetry. The cabinetry was all done. And he calls me, he's calling me on the carpet because there's something is radically wrong with the kitchen, right? And so I come in the kitchen and he goes, what's up? What's up? Can't think of your name. Throws a tape on from finished floor to countertop, top of granite countertop, and it's like 37 and a quarter, right? 37 and a half. He says, these are supposed to be 36. I go, yeah, they are 36. Yeah, he was right there. I go, yeah, well, they're 36 at the highest point of the floor. Let me show you. I walk him over, I throw my tape, it's 36, right? And then I say, well, let me go get a level. The level, I was like, dead level in both directions. So what's off?
The floor.
The floor is off, you idiot. The floor is off. And you're the super of this job, and you call me over here on the carpet because you think I built these wrong? Because your floor is on a level? I'm sorry, was that my fault? No. I'll never forget that. Yeah, your cabinets will be 36 in one spot. And if your floor is level, they'll be 36 everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah, we used to do all of Doug's cabs, and then one of my guys did something that Doug did not like. I can't remember who or what, but whatever it was, that was it. We didn't do anymore. So let's. So everybody looked at your grades, right? Everybody looked at their grades? Midterm exam. Do we want the preview? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Okay, so everybody got your exam, right? Got your exam back. Everybody knows what their scores are. Anybody have any questions just right off the bat? Because we're gonna go through it right now. We'll see how we're going. So we'll see how it goes here. So, all right, question 1. Property lines are marked by the. That's what I would answer too. George, this is a preview, so let's go ahead. answer it. The 3, 4, 5, or 6, 8, 10 can be used to verify what? No, you? Anybody miss that? I don't remember anybody missing that. There are how many cubic feet of concrete in a yard? Did anybody miss that? Were you confused? No, nobody missed it? Okay, that's good. Building lines, are the lines indicating where the footings will be constructed. Is that true or false? I'm pretty sure it's false. But you know what? Let me find. I don't want to preview. Oh, I know what I want. Okay. Let's get out of that because I want to see the right answers. You want to see those too, right? Then we can argue. If they're really right.
Yeah, I've got some specific questions.
Oh, really? Lou's got some questions?
Yeah,
Is anybody surprised?
I've got some questions.
No,
About
not
two
you.
questions in particular.
You can't, no questions for you.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, fine. Okay, property lines are marked by that. We know the answer. We know that. We know the answer to that. So building, okay, it's false. Anybody have any questions? You and I went over that. Lou, were you satisfied by that? Okay, so most communities require buildings to be set back certain distances from the street. Is that true or false?
True.
Do you know what the setback is? This, by the way, it's called setbacks. Do you know what they are? The common setbacks are side yard setbacks are 6 feet. Rear yard setback 6 feet. Sometimes it can be 15, depends on the size of the lot. But your front yard setbacks are usually a little different than that. They're usually like 20 feet. But there are in the city and county, and it's actually certain zoned areas, there are setbacks. And some of that depends on the size of the acreage. If you're near a bank or something like that, you can only build, I think it's 20 feet back from a bank. Most communities require buildings to be blah, blah, blah for 2x4, for a 2x4 or a 2x6 bottom plate. Minimum size foundation bolt for Santa Barbara is 5/8 by 10. Is that true or false? True. I believe it's true as well. I was right, and so were you. What? You've been fed. Why is it important to extend the foundation above the finished grade? Is it to prevent water from seeping in? So, yeah, this doesn't show the questions. How can I find it showing the questions? So anyway, the answer is to prevent water from seeping. This is not well, here's what we'll do. We'll go to somebody's. We'll go to somebody's who, like Lou's. Yeah, that's it. We'll go to Lou's quiz.
It'll make it easier for me to ask my questions.
We'll go to Lou's quiz. What I need is quizzes.
I'm curious if everybody else knows question 62. 62 or 33.
No, I don't.
62.
33. Yeah, I got that wrong. I did
I
compression.
bet you everybody got that one. 62? 62 or 33.
I got 62 right.
You did?
Yeah.
You said that you didn't have?
Yeah.
Where did you find that?
Speed grader. Speed grader is what I need. Speed grader.
James said that?
James,
What?
during the electrical plumbing day.
Did anybody else get that or did you just have?
Wait, what was the question?
Question number 62, the minimum size vent for
Where's
sink showers.
speed grader?
Washing machine drain is
I saw it. And what's the answer?
You did?
One.
inch and a half. You scroll to the bottom. Right there.
Yeah, so the other, my monitor and the other monitor shows it over here. This monitor squeezes everything.
33.
Okay,
What about?
so, yeah, we're not there yet.
94.
Oh, this is mine, Rodney. I got a 75.
is
Use
yours?
Lewis's.
Oh, okay, Okay, we're gonna do.
There you go.
We're gonna do these, okay. So where are we?
Uh,
We are most communities.
not that Jay's about that.
Wait,
Farm
What do you
play.
say?
Okay, so why is it important? Why is it important? Is it to prevent water from seeping through the joint? Yes. It's not to allow the sill for future repair and alteration. No, nobody does anything for future repair and alteration,
Yeah, Lewis, 62.
okay?
I feel
Some of you- a
pretty
bunch of
good
you
that I got it.
Missed this.
Good job.
Horizontal members of the floor plane, what are they called?
Don't worry about
The arches.
87.
There's no really good way to do this. Most common spacing of floor joists is,
16.
Center.
I think most of you got that. Double joists called Tremors, exactly, are used around openings of the floor frame.
33.
The function of the subfloor is to, all the answers are right, provides a base for finished flooring material, right? Finished floor goes on top of that, carpet, whatever. It provides a surface for the carpenter to lay out, and construct the framing. You gotta have a floor down, you can't just do it on the joists.
So 33.
You take sweats out. Yeah. I don't know.
And it adds rigidity to the structure. In most construction today, subflooring is. Really? I like struck floor myself. What's the subfloor? Oh, it's all slab, right? It's not
Yeah.
on grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of beg to differ with that. But it's definitely not tongue group planks. It's definitely not dimension lumber. It's definitely not rough lumber. So by default,
They use like 1 in an 8, 1 in an 8 T and G.
yeah, what about it?
Well, they use that for subfloor.
That's a good, really good subfloor.
Mhm.
That's over and above. A 3/4 struck floor, which is a T and G, is as good a subfloor as you need for almost anything.
Mhm.
But 1 and an 8 is just that much better. It's really good. I like 1 and 1/8 inch flooring for rough treads on steel horses. It's a very good subfloor. You gotta know you're doing it though, right? You don't want to be adding 3/8 of an inch to your subfloor when you haven't accounted for it. You gotta know that you're gonna be doing that. The inside walls of a structure are referred to as partitions. I don't remember if anybody, actually, I didn't look at most people's, come to think of it, so I wouldn't know if you got this right or not, got it wrong or not, but hopefully nobody answered space frames. I hope to God nobody answered space frames. Stud walls, you could have gone for that. Dividers, yeah, maybe, but they are partitions. And to provide extra something or other, 2x6 studs are sometimes used in colder climate. What would it be? Insulation, right? Yeah. Insulation space, good. Where partitions meet outside walls, the use of. Now, a lot of people miss this, and you would have missed it if you hadn't hung with me on Zoom. But it's U-channels. It's definitely not long nails. It's not special mechanical devices, which some of you put. It's definitely not lag bolts. It's the U-channel. It's stud, 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 right? So you have something, that flat stud, or screw tube.
Anybody notice some of these questions are repeats from 110?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of them.
Yeah. Got my old vest and.
When studs are being positioned for assembling in a wall frame, they should be placed with the what up? Exactly. Crown up. What should be present on OSB and plywood panels used for wall sheathing? Stamp. The stamp. So it doesn't need to be a water resistant. You probably, that may or may not be. It's not a part of the deal. And a stamp indicating it's pressure treated is complete bullshit because you're not going to have any pressure treated shear panel, period. So there's the answer. What kind of studs stiffen the sides of a rough opening and bear the direct weight of the header? Not king studs? No. Good. Trimmer studs. The hip and blank roof types have 4 sloping sides. Is it a gambrel or is it Mansard? It's Mansard. I thought it was gambrel.
No, I thought it was gonna be like, it's wrong.
Well, you know what? Let's take a look.
Mansard is like a barn, right?
No, that's a gambrel.
Oh.
So you can see here. A mansard roof is a four-sided gambrel style hip roof.
Oh.
And it does say it in the book too. I can find it.
Yeah, I think I put gambrel because it has like four like
I know,
angles, but I
I
guess
know.
it's not, I guess
Barn
it's two
roof.
sides.
yeah, but then it's
Yeah.
just two sides.
Right.
Mansard is all four sides. Just like a hip roof. When laying out rafters, the base of the right triangle is called the run, Forrest, run. What per foot of run is the basis used to measure the rise of a rafter? Inches of run, yeah. So roof pitch, roof is all about rise and run. So it's always X amount of inches of rise per foot of run. That's how pitches of roofs are laid out. It's called out. Inches of rise to feet of run. So what's a 2 and 12 indicate?
12 is about 2 inches.
2 inches of rise for every 12 inches of run, foot of run. Wood or fiberglass ladders should be used when doing electrical work because they are non-conductive, not conduct electricity. An electrical blank changes input voltage to a higher or lower output voltage. Transformer, exactly. So is that the same thing that turns into those little like cars into big monsters, metal monsters? The entrance panel in the home blank is usually installed by an electrician. This contains fuses or circuit breakers and is the point where the service ends. And what that means is the electrical service ends at your service entry. So the service is provided to your panel, it electrifies it, and then you pull it out. So that's what they mean by service. The best and most accurate method to check to make sure your footings or building is square is to what? Squash measure. It's not all the level. It's not using builder's level. It's not 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5 will give you an individual corner at 90 degrees. If you rely on the 3, 4, 5 to each corner, you could still be out of square. They could be slightly out. When you cross measure, you cannot be out of square. If your numbers are the same, you are square. Nothing else will play it as accurately as that. Which of the following plastic piping materials is connected mechanically with crimp connectors? It's what? PEX, right? PEX. The subsystems of plumbing are water supply, gas, and DWV. Exactly. Removing burrs from the inside of a cut pipe end is called ream, just like when you get reamed for doing something wrong, right? No, it's different. You get chewed out. Mechanical systems include
Everything.
plumbing, electrical, heating, and everything, all of them, exactly correct. Of the two types of copper we use for interior water lines, type L and type M is preferred. Is that true or false? Absolutely false. It's type L. Even though it has been around for many years, blank pipe was used for outside drain lines after World War II because of the shortage of iron and steel. It's made of sawdust, cardboard, and a tar-like material, or asphalt, Orangeburg. Another one was called Vermica, similar, Bermica. First phase of plumbing installation in the building is called the rough-in. Very good. Blank joints can be disassembled without destroying the parts. Compression and threaded. Lou answered and got it wrong.
Yeah,
And I don't quite get this myself.
soldered, I guess you can take it apart.
I guess compression and solder, well, obviously threaded, right? That's obvious. Compression is not so obvious to me because compression crimps,
Yeah.
crimps that O-ring.
the pain to
So
get
I don't
through.
know how the hell you get a compression joint unless it's just like a fit compression, like a flare compression.
Well, with the shark bite, you have that special fitting.
Yeah,
so you
but
can remove it.
It is removable?
Yeah,
The-
yeah.
Okay.
The book says that compression fittings you could undo
Yeah,
for a few times
Okay.
without damaging it.
okay, well, then they can, then I'll buy
I
that.
got that
And then
on the
sweat
book.
soldered, it must say that you can take apart sweat solder joints too. 'cause-
So you can sweat it out.
Yeah, oh, yeah, so you just heat it up, solder melts, you pull it apart.
You pull it
Well, that
apart.
makes sense. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad that we had this talk because I didn't know shit about this. Okay, so every time a house is sold in the city of Santa Barbara, the main sewer line from the house to the street must be what?
Camera.
Camera, yeah. Doesn't need to be snaked, hydrojetted, or replaced. Replaced might be coming. And after it's cambered, it very well may be coming. If they don't like it, they see some roots or some busted joints or some clay pipe or some older pipe, it can make you do it. They will make you do that. Sewage backing up into the house can be avoided by installing a, no, it's not using your toilet. Blowout valve. Blowout valve is what happens when you have a really bad one. But any backflow device, and I was gonna do, there's a 3C RIN presentation on backflow devices. They're pretty important. And they are required to be installed if you are within 50 feet downstream of a manhole cover. If the manhole cover, if you're lower than the manhole cover, 50 feet away, then you have to have an added backflow device. Because that means if there's a main line somewhere, then you're on the line for sewage to back up and come into your house, which has happened to people. And raw sewage coming into your house will ruin your house. And will ruin your day too.
I think Jim told us about a story where like a family had just bought their house and then all that shit happened to them and they tried to sue and they lost because they didn't have a backup plan.
Summerland.
It was unpermitted or something.
That's right. I remember that case. So all non-metallic Romex wiring is color coded. Is that true?
False.
It is false.
No, I don't feel that way.
I wish I didn't get that wrong.
So number 10 Romex is color coded brown, true or false?
False.
It is false. I think it's number 10 is yellow, isn't it? No, orange. 12 is yellow. Orange. The maximum size breaker for number 12 wiring is
20.
amps. Maximum size breaker for number 14 wire is 15 amps. The maximum size breaker for number 10 wire is 40 amps, 30 amps, I'm sorry, 30 amps. And the maximum size breaker for number 6 wire is about that big. It's big, man. And you know the whole thing about wire size, right? The larger the number, the smaller the wire gauge, right? So number 14 is smaller than 12. So, and the smaller the wire gauge, basically think of it as a pathway for electricity. So a small electrical pathway takes a small current of electricity. A larger electrical pathway takes a much bigger current of electricity, and it goes cooler, much more capacity for electric. So your big feed lines, your 440 lines, your electrical feed, your high voltage feeds, they're in those big number 6. You won't have any number 6s in your house, and number 6 won't even come to your house. Be like number 8 comes to your house. Number 6 is really a beefy wire, and it'll take 50 amps. Number 14 wire can only be used for lighting circuits. So if you have number 14 wire these days, you can only use them for circuits that operate lights. And that's not half-hot plugs. That's not duplex outlets you're going to plug lamps in. That's like lights, under counter lights, can lights, switched surface mount lights, vanity lights. The newer electrical code says that all standard household plug circuits must have a minimally number what wire? Used to be 14 now. Less resistance with 12, bigger pathway for moving electrical. 14 can get hot, and that's why they wanted to get rid of 14, because it can't carry that much juice, and if it gets overloaded, it heats up. That's what wire does when it has too much juice coming through. When it's too much juice for, when it's reduced. One of them would. When we wire a switch, we always switch the black or hot wires. It's true.
What if it's an end and it's a loop? So you've got the hot wire going to your electrical light,
Yeah.
and then you've got your black and white Romex with ground running to the switch.
Yeah.
At that point, the white wire is connected to the switch.
You're probably going to want to ask Jim that question. I
You know what I mean? It's called an end loop.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I just don't have enough experience in electrical to be able to
That's why I'm just.
tell you about it, to explain why or what's going on with that, or why that. Yeah, oh yeah, in that case, that's right. But I would just be flapping my gums. I don't know. Ask Jim.
All right.
44. Okay. 45. The only time we use the white wire in Romex is to switch the power. To switch the power would be if the power comes to the light fixture first, or in a three-way circuit. That's true. What's the minimum number of circuits for a bedroom? Two. Who wrote one? Me. I did too. Using Romex, the color of the wire that's connected to the chrome or silver screw on the plug is black. Is it true? Apparently it is. False. So we had this conversation. The color of the wire that's connected to the chrome or silver screw on the plug is black, and that's not necessarily true, right?
No,
Because
it goes to like the gold one.
Goes to the gold.
Yeah.
Other than the green screw, the color of the screws that hold the wires on a switch are chrome or silver. That's also false. It's kind of gold color or silver, right? Ground wires are either bare copper in Romex or green when using individual wires, and that's true. If I open up a plug electrical box and find a green, a white, and a red wire, the red wire is the what? The hot. What's the black? What's the white wires? The neutral. Two of the three types of electrical grounding that are required for a new electrical panel are both of them, right? Both of them. In Santa Barbara, the main material that's used for sewer pipe inside and outside of the house is yes. In colder climates, like the Midwest, I, being Jim, mentioned the main material for sewer lines is, I just showed you the answer. PVC. PVC, not ABS. PVC is more resistant to cold and less resistant to freezing and getting brittle than ABS is. PVC is more expensive too, by the way, almost twice as expensive. In commercial buildings over 3 stories, they are required to use what for the sewer lines? Because the fire. Cast iron. And by the way, commercial buildings are required to use cast iron, period. Not over 3 stories. I don't know where the hell 3 stories come from. That come from your book? Commercial buildings are required to use cast iron. I don't care how many stories there are. They have to have cast iron waste. Pardon me?
Is that just California though? Because there's more.
It may
More
be California, may
fire.
not be IBC, but I know for a fact in our area, they gotta be cast iron, and electrical has to be in conduit. It can be in flex conduit, but it has to be metal conduit. The plastic plumbing pipe that's used for water lines in residential construction that can be red, blue, or milky white is exactly PEX. Generally, we recommend the use of type L copper over type M for interior water lines. If you were paying attention on the question before that, you knew the answer, you got this one right too. So when we get to the end of this thing, should we go home?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you want to go home at the end of this thing. Daniel wants to stay. No, Daniel's staying.
My hand's also
You're gonna
raised.
stay, Daniel. I don't, no one lets Daniel leave. The underground plastic gas pipe is also required to have a tracer wire and change underground to metal risers whenever it comes out of the ground. That is absolutely true. That's a very true statement and a good one to remember. Gotta have tracer wire, which is kind of a no-brainer, but when that plastic, and it's not PVC, by the way, it's something else, it's PEC, I think is what it is, polyethylene chloride or something like that, but that cannot be above ground. You can't see that ever. It's gotta be galvanized pipe.
The yellow one? Yeah.
The yellow pipe, yeah. And it can never be above ground. And another thing that can't, gas pipe is weird. I had to do something with a gas pipe. I brought a gas pipe from the house outside to a fire feature, right? It was all outside. So I could, bury the pipe, 18. You can't bury gas pipe inside, right? You can bury gas pipe outside. But if there's anything over the gas pipe, like there was a porch, there was like an 8 or 10 foot wraparound overhang, porch roof over this patio before the gas kept going past that. It went about 20 or 30 feet. I could not bury that gas pipe without doing something special, which is venting the pipe. So I had to have a pipe. The gas pipe was within a pipe, and then that pipe had to be vented. And the idea is that because if gas has a leak underground and it percolates up to the ground and it comes out, because the gas rises, it will rise up, and they don't want it getting trapped underneath that. So if gas is outside in a trench and it leaks, it just goes out to the air, right? But if it's underneath any kind of overhang, it will hang out under there. And if it hangs out in a great enough concentration, and you go up there and spark up your reefer that night, you might just be the last one you ever sparked up.
Natural gas is heavier than air.
Yeah, it is, but that's the logic. So somehow it must rise up. It's got to, it's a gas. Well, let's find out.
I mean, it's gonna rise up.
Because that natural gas heavier than air, because if it doesn't, then
It's lighter than
yeah, so it's not, is it, Frank?
air. No.
Damn it.
Well, the reason why is, I remember someone blew themselves up in a house and they were trying to commit suicide. It was a strange deal. And they try to asphyxiate themselves. And what happened is, the way it was explained to me is the gas pooled and then puddled up and rose to the pilot light. Which is why gas water heaters are off the ground.
Yep.
But if it's heavier than air, then I guess if they're lighter, then it would work down from the ceiling.
It is lighter and it rapidly dissipates.
Yeah, back in the day.
It will rise into a room if allowed to escape. On the contrary, propane is heavier than air. Now, I could imagine if you were in a room that had no draft whatsoever, that maybe it wouldn't, because it says it'll rise if allowed to escape. Oh, if allowed to escape from the burner. What's the minimum size for a drainer into the house? 4? No, 3. It's 3.
Outside.
I got that one wrong too. What's the minimum size for the main drain outside the house?
4.
Yes. 4. Minimum size of the vent stack for a toilet is 2 inches. Is that correct? Absolutely true. Minimum size for vent for sink, showers, tub, or washing machine drain is 1.5. Exactly correct.
Come on.
Oh, Lou. bad.
Did everybody else get it right?
Yeah, everyone.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that homeless chick down by the fig tree got it right.
Yeah.
The name of the, the name of the cardboard sawdust and tar pipe that was used after World War II for surveying drains in Orangeburg is true. The normal operating pressure for the interior plumbing of your home is 50 to 80 pounds. If the pressure is higher than this, then a what is required to lower the pressure? Pressure regulator. So right on the other side of your service entry should be a pressure regulator. Service entry, pressure reg, and I think mine is malfunctioning. Because sometimes my back shower is just toning down on the shower head. It's gotta be a pressure regulator.
Does the pressure come in hot for your neighborhood?
Say again, please.
Does the pressure come in high for your neighborhood?
I'm not sure exactly. Mine's just perfect, but sometimes in the last few months, for like a shower, it'll blast out of the shower head like I can't believe it. And next time I take a shower, I'll be back to normal. I mean to ask them. Drain lines do not operate under pressure, so they're required to have a slope of 1/4 inch per foot. Is that correct? Yes, it is. I don't think anybody missed that. Client focused worker who is keeping, okay, now you'll notice the questions change here from 66 on. A client focused worker who is keeping the client's best interest in mind means that they are what?
Efficiently and safely.
They're staying out of the way of the client when they're in obvious bad mood. Duh.
Appearing to be busy.
Trying to be busy at all times.
Probably a good idea.
Hammering nails.
Didn't anybody do that? Well, yeah, hammering nails and pulling them out again. Hammering nails again. When we erected the shade structure at the main campus, the tool we used to raise the header beam is called it's called an I Dream of Lift. I Dream of Genie Lift. The edge detail we routed around the edges of the posts and beams for the shade structure is what is it? Is it a 30-degree chamfer?
45.
It's a 45-degree chamfer, Lou.
That's what I said.
The size, yeah, I know. I know that's what you put. The size of those posts and beams we use in the main campus shade structure are, what are they?
6 by 6 and 6 by 10.
Excellent. They were definitely not 4 by 4 and 4 by 10. Just in case there was one. And how does a 6 by 6 post twist? Huh? I'll never forget that. I said, I should, wait, I gotta film this. Would you say that again? The fasteners we used to fasten the column bases and column caps on the shade structure were
SDS.
Yes, they were. The on-demand water heater I used at the job I interviewed Jay Allen at required upsizing the gas service. Is that yes or no? Absolutely true. Just remember, on-demand water heaters almost always take upsizing the gas service. Because they take at least 1.25 inches service. Almost always you have to upsize the gas service. Unless it's a relatively new house and you got a nice big honking big gas service. What's the reason that the WC toilets don't need a V-trap? Built in, right under the fixture. Toilets don't need P-traps because the amount of solids it handles, right? Why do they need P-trap? It's all excrement. Make sure the plumbing vents are ready to be inspected means filling the vents until they spill over the top. So just try to picture this. When your inspector comes that day to inspect your roughed in plumbing, they're going to want to see the vents stacked. The vents stacked are filled with water. Water we need, put in the clean out, blown up with a pump or a bicycle pump or a compressor. So the vents can't drain, your drains can't drain. And then you, from the top, they're filled up with a hose until they spill over. So what your inspector wants to see is you taking that vent stack, because remember in the rough in part, and they're inspecting your vents before you even frame, your vents are just sticking up there. You want to take that vent, shake it, and you want to see water spill out. That's how you pass the inspection. That your vents are holding water, full of water, and they held water overnight. The maximum space required for WC on each side is 30 inches. That translates to 15 inches side to side, right? 30 inches. You've got to have 30 inches with the center, the toilet center at 15. Now, this is missing a word. It should say 90% efficiency water heater. uses a traditional flue vent pipe with insulated collars to the roof. Did anybody miss that? Good. I don't think we did because it's false. It does not use a traditional flue. It uses a PVC pipe. Just like a 90% efficiency furnace, FAU uses a PVC pipe. In this case, we pointed it out. There was a PVC flue pipe and it also had makeup air in it that drew its makeup air for combustion air inside that pipe. So I didn't have to have the screens in the doors. Remember? I want to mention that because my client did not want these ugly ass screens. What's an ass screen? Didn't want these ugly screens in the door. So we didn't have to do them because we had to makeup or combustion air. And by the way, every fixture that's gas fired needs makeup or combustion air. It has to have a certain amount of air to make the combustion work. And a lot of times water heaters, gas fired appliances, forced air units are in very small spaces. And if those small spaces have no vents in them, no way to draw makeup air, maybe just a quarter inch at the bottom of the door, they will starve. They won't operate properly at all. Nobody will like it. Mangoing job, we saw videos to get mechanical services from one side of the house to the other. We created a large rut along the path of the new LVL heading.
Okay.
A chase, big old chase. We nail that stuff to that beam and then we boxed around it, creating a chase. A chase is something that's used to get one mechanical thing to another, usually from one floor to another, from room one to another. You can't run it inside the wall, so you need to run it outside the wall and then chase it. A lot of times soffits in kitchens, where the cabinets come up and die in a soffit, and then you've got a soffit that comes up to the ceiling. Those soffits a lot of times are there to run ducting. They're
And
chasing.
how does the chase different from a raceway?
A raceway would be smaller. A raceway would be something where you run electrical lines through. You could probably call it a chase as well, but a raceway would be lines of something run through as opposed to big old ducts. Most chases are duct chases, but you can get anything into a chase. Rich McCoy thinks it's important to run a separate circuit for every appliance, and he's so right, man. He just insists on that. Don't split up appliances. Every appliance gets a separate circuit, and you don't have appliances triggering circuit breakers. Home run helpers that Rich McCoy pointed out to us in the video of the Mangun job are used for keeping the Romex run separate. Remember them up in there? They were black and it just kept the Romex away from each other, and which is really cool thing. Very impressed by them. Very impressed by clean jobs. I've seen a lot of jobs, and the jobs I'm really impressed by are clean jobs. Things are clean and tight. If you looked at that Mangun job, I don't know that if I showed you the plumbing video or Jay Allen video, maybe I did, I can't remember, but the plumbing in that job, the electrical were just tight, really tight. Well done, Romex not flopping around, but everything strapped well, everything wrapped. Plumbing was a museum piece. A quick idea to deal with stress is swim naked in the ocean, fire up a fat one, drive your car really fast. No. Take a mental break. Get a hobby. When edge routing on the front edge, one should route from the left to the right and then reverse on the back edge. Is that true or false? It's true. That's how you need to route. What if I'm routing on the front edge and I go from the right to the left? What am I doing? Climb cutting. It takes a lot more to hold on to that router because it wants to, it's pulling you with it, but it's cutting fast against the grain, and it's taking off meat, and then you can go back through. It's the way to cut to avoid a splintering material and getting splinters. It's a climb cut, but it takes a little more control, knowing what you're doing. When edge routing with a fairly substantial profile and depth of route, it's a good idea to do what?
To read all the answers.
Yeah. Route more than one pass, climb cut, do not pause. Avoid electrical hazards from the toolbox talks. Avoid electrical hazards by. Don't grab live wires. Don't leave power tools plugged in all the time. So that's pretty, everybody knows about that, right? What should you be wearing if you're operating a tool in standing water? Rubber boots with no holes in them, guys. With no holes in them, too. It's pretty important. Because a hole, so I was operating a sandblaster once. So it's got, it's a glass box nozzle inside these arm things, right, with rubber gloves. I'm holding a metal aircraft heater under it, sandblasting off, right? Sandblasters generate a lot of static electricity just by the action of all this sand, right? I had a hole in my glove, I think, and I got static electricity charges while sandblasting that just slammed my arms up into the steel of the thing. Oh my gosh, I had bruised biceps for a couple of weeks. So yeah, you always want to be sure you're insulated. Even a thing like that where you don't expect electricity, and yet nobody told me about the static electricity. If you receive an electric shock, besides the chance of electrocution, there's also a chance that.
Is anybody thrown off with this one? How it's mislabeled?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was mislabeled, but I don't think, did anybody not get that because they were looking at the deadly dozen? And put something else? The soles of your shoes will melt and burn your feet. And you will not be able to attain an
I know
erection.
somebody put that first one.
I did. And I put my hero catch on fire. So a lot of people think that that's what happens when you electrocute your catches on fire.
Isn't that what happened to your student?
So that happened to my student, he couldn't get erections, so he said. The fastening tools most used in electrical work are both of those, both straight. Stupid question. The electrician's hammer has a longer neck, I'm sorry, than carpenter's hammer. Does that explain why? Sure, there's a reason for it. You know?
It's when they're setting like a handy box and you've got to tap inside the
All the
box.
way into the box. Did you see that in the book, or did you just knew that?
I saw that in the book.
Thought you maybe pulled that out of your mind.
No, I always wondered why they were longer.
National Electrical, what is a set of suggested rules? Code. National Electric List. All the outlets on one run of conductors make up a branch circuit. A transformer changes what in an electrical system utilizing principles of induced magnetism? Exactly. A transformer changes the voltage. Electrical current may have electrons that flow in both directions. Yes, they very well may. Electrical cables must be fastened to framing members within how many inches of their entrance into an electrical box, if that box contains clamps to secure the cable. Well, it is indeed 12 inches. The form of electrical current used in residential installations is AC, alternating current. The International Code Council, Inc. sponsors the what? The International Plumbing Code. We still use we still use the Uniform Plumbing Code. We still use UPC. Right there, UPC. But the IPC and the IBC, International Building Code, supersedes most. It has. Plumbers should be skilled in all of these: soldering and brazing, woodworking and metalworking. I don't know so much about woodworking, but they do have to cut through studs, and they have to do a bunch of stuff that has to do with the wood on a project to get their plumbing through. So definitely soldering and brazing, that's obvious, and metalworking, not so obvious, but they do metalwork is part of plumbing. To avoid crimping a copper tube, a what should be used for bending?
Spring bender.
Tubing spring? Conduit bender.
That's, the book said two.
The book says two.
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, let's just look that up. Shall we? Now, let's see. This is from what, well, let's just look at it.
It's on, and the answer is on one of the picture descriptions
Okay,
on there.
so what chapter is that? Plumbing? I can't remember. 31, 30,
31.
31.
Well,
And what's the question again? To avoid crimping copper tubing. Okay, copper tubing is available as visited as it's sold as.
the question's asking for tubing, not pipe.
Yeah, it's tubing.
Copper tubing isn't used for conduit.
Who said anything about conduit?
Conduit bender. Is the correct answer.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, no, a conduit bender would bend copper tubing.
Yeah, I would, but
But I wonder where that came from, because I think that's a book thing. That's a book thing, so, without spending too much time on this. Huh. If you got it wrong, and it makes a difference, you just let me know. But in the meantime, let me just make sure that I got this right. Thirty, 31, okay. Yeah, 31, okay. And we're doing 12? We're doing 12 on this class, right? So it's really, yeah. 31.
It's on page 838 in edition 12.
838?
838. It's the second sentence. To avoid crimping, which may lead to a leak, slide a tubing spring over the section to be bent.
Wow, I wonder.
Bend the tube and spring.
No, I see it, I see it. So, that's totally.
Yeah, that's the difference between a C and a B, Rodney.
Yeah, you were 1 point off. 1 point off. There you go. Dude.
Were you got, oh, cool.
Yeah. it was one
Good,
point.
I'll go back through and make those changes.
Participation.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna mess around with this. I'm just not gonna do it. Just suffice to say, I'm just trying to figure out where I got that from. If the answer was wrong, provided by Goodart Wilcox, but totally tubing spring. So, yeah, I'll go back through everybody's test and make sure if they answer that tubing spring, if they get it right. So good, thanks for finding that. Flip. So which materials can be used with both DWV and water supply? cast iron, galvanized zinc, copper, plastic, it can all be used for all the above. Sinks, bathtubs, lavatory showers, other water, anything using water is referred to as a plumbing fixture, right? Which of the following is not a pipe drawing? An elevation is not a pipe drawing, right? You can do a plan view sketch for a pipe drawing, you can do riser diagram, isometric. You see a lot of plumbing diagrams are isometric, but you will not see a pipe drawing as an elevation. First step in making a joint with a flare fitting is to what? Slide the flare nut under the tubing, because if you don't do that, and you flare it, you can't get the nut on, right? You gotta get that nut on. Flare it first, because once you flare it, the nut's not coming off. So all you need to know about plumbing, according to me, is the shit rolls downhill to quarter inch to a foot, right? Waterway spent and then excrement rolls downhill a quarter inch to a foot. So, woo-hoo. Anybody have any questions? What number is that? I gotta go back and look at 94?
94.
Okay, so as a matter of fact, on Lou's, let's do this. We'll just do this right now. We'll make that 1 point. And we'll update the score. Woo, yes.
Yeah, 1 more point.
Get down, Lou. I needed that. Yeah, I think while I'm here, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'll go back through. You guys don't have to sit around for all that stuff. So, any questions? Questions at all? No, not one question. Not a question.
What's the plan for Saturday?
Any questions for the people at home? Okay, the plan for Saturday is meet here. Jim will be here to meet you here at 8:30, right here, probably next door. And I don't know, he's gonna take you somewhere. I think he's got something in mind. He's gonna take you somewhere and show you.
I think that should be like a drywall person.
Oh, yeah. So is that what we're on to? Are we on to drywall? Because I've got a couple of good videos. I got a great drywall video. Maybe I'll show you guys. I interviewed Rob Thomas. He's really, the guy is 3rd generation drywall guy. Lives and breathes drywall. You know, there's not a lot to drywall, but there is something to drywall. You know, it's drywall is something that almost anybody can kind of do, but very few people can do it production wise and really make money at it like drywallers can. Drywallers can do it. They do things like they love to hang 4x12 board, 5/8 4x12 board. You ever try to pick up a piece of 5/8 4x12 board? Let's see, how heavy is 5/8?
It's heavy.
It's 4, 5, 12. $77. Wait, that's half inch. 5 inches. It's 2.31 pounds per square. And there's 48, so call it 50. So it's over 100 pounds, 100 and some odd pounds, one long sheet, and they break. Yeah, drywall is unbelievable. But imagine, if you will, walls without drywall. I mean, you know, when we get those walls framed, and then we get them all filled up with Romex and plumbing, insulation, everything that goes in the walls, and it's time to cover them up. They cover fast, drywall. There's nothing else that would cover that fast. Like, we're gonna do the tiny house, but we're not gonna do it drywall. What are we gonna do with it? We're gonna do it with 1/2 inch plywood and bats. It won't be as fast, and we won't have mud to, feather and cover our nail holes and stuff. We'll do it really as clean as we can. We'll do it like finished carpentry. We're gonna build that with like a little cabinet that it is. Once I can finally get my hands on it, once we get the roughs done. We'll get in and do it. Some of you won't be around for that, some of you will, but come next Saturday, come next Wednesday. I will see you a week from Saturday. I'll be, Jim will let you know, but we'll meet here and we'll do something fun. Maybe we'll go, put the roof on, the structure. Yeah, and see what happens. What, are they gonna arrest us? Are you gonna get the chair for this? Lethal injection? No, we'll do it.
Don't make us take it down.
We'll get a couple of station, a couple of guards there and we'll just do it.
You'll be the one paying the fine, Rodney, not us.
We won't do it, I promise. But at any rate. Take care. Oh, by the way, how is Easter figured?
Oh, somehow.
It's the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the vernal equinox, which happens to be this coming Sunday, right? This coming Sunday. This coming Sunday. So the full moon, I think, is like, it's, if it's not, it's in the next couple of days. It's right up there and then Sunday falls and then it's Easter, right? And if the full moon, if it didn't get full until Monday, when would Easter be? It'd be the following Sunday. Yeah, killer, huh? See you guys. See you guys.
Later, Rodney.
Oh! Rocky, that's enough.
See you later, Rodney.
See you later, guys.